For fly fishers and non-anglers alike, the aesthetics of vintage fly fishing gear are truly charming. And you see this when you go into an antique store, you get on Facebook Marketplace, and things that are relatively worthless outside of fishing with today or putting up on your wall for decoration call for pretty high prices. But just because there's a lot of things out there that don't have a lot of value doesn't mean that there aren't some things that are truly valuable from a historic perspective. And there's a book that celebrates those items in an unparalleled and amazing way, and we'll talk about it today on Casting Across. Hi, I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. So not all old stuff is valuable stuff. So this reel was my grandfather's, and I think it looks cool. So I keep it around, but it doesn't work well, and it is not worth that much money. Similarly, just because you have a bamboo fly rod doesn't mean that you're sitting on thousands of dollars. This one was made in the early 60s for a hardware store in Connecticut, and it casts a 7-weight line okay. It's just not worth that much money, and it has very little historic value. But there are some things out there that are worth looking at and appreciating for the part that they played in the development of fly fishing, or where they were at a certain point in time in the history of fly fishing. And the book that chronicles them is Steve Woit's Fly Fishing Treasures. This is, in many ways, a very big and full book, both in size and in quality. Now, what Woit does here is he collects collections, okay? So here he talks to people who are either the owners of or the curators of some very significant collections of fly fishing equipment. Rods, reels, flies, miscellany, and then in their words, he gets descriptions of these items. So there are some great anecdotal aspects to it, but then there's also just a pure version of the history of fly fishing equipment and where particular items land in fly fishing. That's my sweater right there, that picture. So he also encompasses some of the major brands, whether it be Orvis or Hardy, and then he talks to folks that you know, Tom Rosenbauer, Hoagie Carmichael, to get their perspective on these pieces of fly fishing equipment. Now, this book is, again, not hastily thrown together. It's not stuff that you can easily find on the internet. The photography is exceptional. The scope of what he talks about is fantastic. This is the kind of book you could read cover to cover, or you could pick up and flip through and read a caption about something here or there and truly enjoy it. This is a book that you can gift as a gift for somebody who has everything fly fishing already, or it's the kind of book that you can get for somebody who is interested in fly fishing history. It is not an inexpensive book. And there's actually a version with a slipcover that comes in at, I think, twice the retail of this particular volume. But it is an exceptional resource. It's the kind of thing that you'd be happy to show to other people and have them flip through. And it's also going to do something really cool. And that is, if you read this book and you're not already into this as a topic, I guarantee you that as you read it, you're going to want to go to a local fly fishing museum, or even travel as you're on maybe a fishing trip or on some other sort of adventure, and go to a place where you can see stuff like this with your own two eyes. But short of flying all around the world and spending all sorts of money to get into these private collections, reading Fly Fishing Treasures is going to be a wonderful time that you can have flipping through these pages. So is there a particular piece of fly fishing gear or a collection that you have seen that you think is worth sharing? Let me know in the comments below. I'll put information on where you can pick this book up and where you can check out Steve Woit's website, Fly Fishing Treasures, in the part of the video below. And then you can go learn more about this book and other interesting pieces of fly fishing history that you can engage with today over at Casting Across, where there's 3 posts a week on the people, place, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.